I want to welcome everyone to tonight's webinar. This is Jason Green, Holistic Health Counselor and Detox Coach. For those of you who have been searching for a way to end your self-destructive relationship with processed sugar, to regain power over those sometimes uncontrollable cravings that strike out without warning and show you no mercy, you've made the right decision by being here tonight. Now what we're going to go over tonight is we're going to expose the underlying reasons that cause those uncontrollable cravings, discover what's really going on inside your body when you eat sugar throughout the day, and get the latest research in the growing controversy surrounding agave nectar. Now, this is probably going to be some controversial stuff, so hold on to your seats, people. I reveal my sugar detox program and other specific tips that you can use right away that will provide easy, affordable solutions to break the stronghold that sugar has over you and your life. So are we ready? All right, let's get started. Any of this look familiar to you guys? Not too long ago, this was the majority of my daily diet. I was a dedicated sugar addict from about the second day of first grade until somewhere around my 33rd birthday. My diet was pretty balanced, actually. All of the major sugar food groups were equally represented on my plate. Day, night, breakfast, lunch, dinner, you name it, sugar was somewhere in my diet and a constant source of instant gratification for me. I never ever considered the damaging effect of what sugar was doing to my body until I did my very first sugar detox back in 2003. And I will be sharing a little bit more about how to do that and some details of that program a little later on. I just want to talk about what sugar was like for you growing up. So like what your favorite sweet was growing up, what your favorite sweet is now as an adult, if it's any different than the ones kind of sugar that you were eating as a child. And then if you notice any of the side effects from eating sugar when you eat it. And I'll just start. But, you know, specifically it was Now or Later, Skittles, Hostess Cupcakes, Devil Dogs, Milky Ways, ice cream sundaes with chocolate syrup, my grandmother's chocolate chip cookies, or oatmeal raisin cookies, and her deadly, deadly pound cake. And that was pretty much how I ate. And as an adult, it's very interesting. It's kind of done almost a 180. You know, now I eat like frozen grapes, frozen bananas, pineapple, cantaloupe, bowl of cereal with almond milk maybe. Definitely love dark chocolate with sea salt, almond butter, fruit preserves, and walnuts drizzled with a little bit of honey or maple syrup. So I still have a sweet tooth, but it's a very different type of sweet tooth now. And I notice that when I do eat sugar, I get a little heat in my body, and I get a little hyperactive and silly, and then I feel a little lethargic afterward. It's like I get like a shaky kind of jittery feeling in my body. So if anybody is, you know, willing to share, I'd like to hear what you guys think of. Does anyone want to raise their hand and share with the group? Anyone want to ask a question? Okay, well then I guess I'll keep going. So, my intention for you tonight is to permanently change your relationship with sugar. And what this will take is for you to be here 100% with the intention to really permanently change that relationship. I'm going to need you to listen and take part fully as if your life depends on it, because it actually does. Now, your life's going to turn out completely different when you're eating well and you understand the food and your relationship to it and how it makes you feel. Because what we eat changes everything. Now, just the basic biology, food goes into our stomach, and as we eat it, it gets digested, it gets absorbed into our blood. And our blood is what creates our cells, our tissues, our organs, even our thoughts. Everything we eat becomes us, literally, and causes us to vibrate on a specific level. And when it comes to sugar intake, it's not so much about limiting our intake through willpower or discipline or denials or deprivation, but really looking at what causes, what's underneath those crazy, uncontrollable cravings, so that you can take the right inspired action and reduce them naturally over time. So the good news really is that because you have a craving for sugar, it's your body asking for something energetically in that moment. You know, and it's most likely an energy boost. You know, you're feeling a little low. You might have low blood sugar. You know, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you need something to pick you up and get you to the end of that day. It could be a desire to be happy or comforted after, you know, a stressful day at work, or getting some bad news, or something unfortunate happens, and you kind of want to cheer yourself up. And so a lot of times sugar, in the form of ice cream or chocolate, are what we use as a boost. And so that's really what our body's asking for. It's asking for something in the moment to give us energy. So actually, sugar is really a good thing because your body needs it. It's just that the type of sugar that most people, most Americans, most people who live in Western civilized societies eat is actually doing more damage than good, because it affects you way beyond the moment that your body's actually asking for it. And, sweet tooths are something that has been with us since the beginning of time. We are built pretty much hardwired into our DNA. And the human tongue basically can detect 4 flavors: the salty, the sour, the bitter, and the sweet. And the sweet and the salty are at the tip of the tongue, which accounts for why the vast majority of our cravings fall into either one of these 2 categories, either the salty or the sweet. But the sweet tends to be more popular, and that's because in terms of our biology, we evolved directly from the primates. You can just see the little guy on the left-hand side of your screen to the computer guy on the right-hand side of your screen. And in order to tell if something was ripe, the sweet taste is what could tell tell a primate whether something was sweet enough to eat. So the sweet tooth is kind of what guided primates to. Hold on one second, we got a question. All right, excellent. So I just want to pause for a second. We did get somebody to respond about what was their favorite sweet growing up. Sasha says, cookies, 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 rush of energy, then crash. Yeah, I know how you feel. That is a pretty common reaction, and it is something that we can definitely get you out of that loop and onto something that's definitely more balanced and healthy. So thank you for sharing, and I really appreciate that. And we're just going to go on there, but thanks a lot for that. Okay, so primates, sweet cravings, it evolved from us. So that's the basic little history of that. But see, that's the human nature part. That's the DNA part. That's the biology. The sociology part of it is equally as powerful because, sugar has been associated with all of the most celebrated aspects of our lives. Birthdays, cake and ice cream, cookies, get good grades. Sometimes you get a sweet, you get taken out to your favorite restaurant, you get your favorite dessert, you complete your chores on time, vacation, go on vacation with the family. Most parents are more apt to be much more relaxed when it comes to, what their kids want, and kids always know how to get into their parents and ask them for what they want and beg. I have a 6-year-old nephew, and you would not believe the lengths he would go to get something sweet when I come visit because it's a special occasion when Uncle Jason's around. If you work in an office, Staff Appreciation Day is usually ice cream sundaes or something like that. It's not, vegan bars or, rice cakes. It's definitely something sweet. It's part of our culture, very deeply ingrained in our culture. And, as much as it is about happy times, conversely, like I was saying before, when we don't feel like celebrating, something in life puts us in a funk. And in order to reconnect to that sense of joy and reward that we remember, because it's been ingrained in us growing up, it can be just as easy to reach for that cold and creamy pint of ice cream. And more often, it could also be alcohol, because alcohol is also a form of sugar. And it's processed in a much, very similar way as sugar is when it enters your bloodstream. Your liver, it's processed in your liver. In a way, it is sugar when it's broken down in your body. So it's something to be mindful of, is that alcohol is definitely included in this as cravings for sugar as well. A little definition here, sugar is considered an addictive substance. Even eating a small amount creates a desire for having more of it. And suddenly quitting sugar, especially refined sugars, we're talking about, the sugar, brown sugar, high fructose corn syrups, and agave nectar, but we'll get to that later. Suddenly quitting that causes withdrawal symptoms such as headaches, crashing, jitters, mood swings, cravings, and fatigue. There was a really big article in the New York Times back in April with the headline, "Is Sugar Toxic?" And, are we going to go so far as saying that sugar is as toxic as, pesticides or, chemical additives? I would say that it is definitely up there, the damage that is done in working with my clients. I have 2 clients right now who are completely addicted to sugar in particular, and they will even go out of their way to change the course of their day to get to the store that they know their favorite candy is in, to pick some up so that they definitely have some with them. Then I have another client who actually will go and buy a really sweet treat and then leave it in the house until it goes stale and won't eat it. But for the fact that they have it near them gives them some sense of control, or what they think is control, over their craving. It's a very interesting thing. It's very deeply ingrained in people. And, to get to the bottom of these cravings is going to require just some real self-love and some patience with yourself to really just understand, how these things come together to create the cravings when they come up. Just to summarize very quickly, sweet cravings are hard-coded into our DNA. Sweet foods are linked to celebration and reward as well as sadness and disappointment. Sugar is readily available everywhere you turn, and sugar is an addictive substance. just by the definition of what it is. When you eat it, you want more, and when you suddenly quit it, you have all kinds of physical withdrawal symptoms from it. So, where does sugar exist? Well, soft drinks, according to the American Heart Association, these food groups are the highest percentage of total added sugar to the diets of Americans. Now, added sugar is sugar added during the manufacturing process or at the table, not sugars that occur naturally in foods like fruit. Okay, so this is added sugar. So if you drink Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Red Bull, Arizona iced tea, Snapple, those type of processed soft drinks, whether they're carbonated or what they call tea or, energy drinks and so forth. That first number on the top row should be of particular interest to you because that's 33% added sugar to that. And so that's what you're ingesting. And so it's not just about, cakes and donuts and the culprits, but soft drinks have become really, really prevalent in the damage that they do because people were drinking Diet Coke for 10, 12 years of their life without even thinking about it. Okay. So the most common types of added sugar are sucrose, which is white table sugar, the most common type of sugar, made from sugar cane or beets. It's a combination of glucose, which your body uses as energy, and fructose, which can be naturally occurring in fruit, but it's a different type of fructose than the concentrated fructose that is used to make sugar. It's about 99% pure. Brown sugar has a touch of molasses in it, which is what gives it its color. High fructose corn syrup has been much maligned. It's probably the most reviled and maligned food substance in the land right now. Everybody seems to be jumping on the bandwagon against high fructose corn syrup because of the skyrocketing obesity and diabetes diagnoses that are just completely taking over the healthcare system. It's made from cornstarch. It varies. The amount of fructose in high fructose corn syrup varies with the manufacturer. It's either 42, I believe, or 55 or 90% fructose, depending on the concentration. Dextrose is a kind of corn sugar. It is, the remaining part of high fructose corn syrup that is not fructose. Honey is, natural, gathered from bees. It does have a high fructose content, but it also has glucose, maltose, and sucrose. And it is, if you eat raw honey, has a lot of nutrients and vitamins in it as well. So you're not just getting the processed sugar without any nutrition in it whatsoever. But, people have their own feeling about honey because it's pre-digested, and some people feel like it's not good for them. But honey is a type of added sugar that they do put in products. Lactose is milk sugar. A lot of people are lactose intolerant, but that's the sugar in milk that is hard to digest for lots of people, depending on their ethnic background in particular. Fructose, we've just talked about that. It's commercial concentrated sugar, much sweeter than sucrose, and its sweetness depends on the physical form and how it's used. Levulose is very key. Levulose is the fruit sugar. It's a type of fructose that's in fruit. And it's very important to keep this distinction in mind. It's for those of you who use agave nectar because there's been some confusion in terms of fructose being defined as fruit sugar and levulose being the same thing as fructose. Well, fructose is refined. Levulose is in its natural state, which means it's bound to the fiber, to the pectin, and to the flesh of the fruit, and so it's digested in a completely different way. Now, artificial sweeteners, there's some really popular ones on the market. Aspartame's been around for a long time, NutraSweet, saccharin, sucralose, which is Splenda, which is very popular, neotame, sorbitol, malitol, and xylitol, which are sugar alcohols and are used in some chocolate products and other candy products. You have to spend a lot more energy. Your body has to spend a lot more energy trying to kind of quarantine it, identify it, and then figure out a way to break it down and get rid of it. So you're putting your body to more work if you continue to ingest artificial sweeteners. So these are the most common types of added sugar sweeteners.